Now, a new cluster of coronavirus cases in Beijing is sparking fears of a second wave of the deadly outbreak. The Chinese government is taking wartime measures, sending paramilitary forces on patrol to one neighborhood. Strict lockdowns are back, and officials are carrying out mass COVID-19 testing to contain the spread of the virus. Now, at least 79 new cases have been reported since Friday, which emerged from a wholesale food market. CNN senior international correspondent Ivan Watson is live for us in Hong Kong with more. And Ivan, what more do we know about this flare-up? I think we can call it a flare-up, and the process of really trying to track everyone down here.
Well, we know that the authorities say they've detected at least 76 locally transmitted infections that they have traced back to this market in the south of the Chinese capital since Friday. And they're clearly very concerned about it, in part because this market is an essential food supplier for this enormous Chinese city. More than 80% of the produce, of the vegetables and fruits, as well as meats and seafood, come from this market. It feeds the city. Second, just an enormous amount of people circulate through this market. So the authorities say they're going to try to trace some 200,000 people that they believe have moved through the market since the beginning of this month, in about a 2-week period. They've also embarked on a massive testing spree. They've set up nearly 200 sample collecting sites around Beijing, and they're testing, as of Sunday, some 76,000 people. They've completely locked down 11 residential compounds where the residents are not allowed in or out, and basic necessities and food are to be delivered to those residents. So we're seeing some dramatic moves to try to contain this outbreak, though we are not seeing a citywide or provincial shutdown, the likes of which we saw after the outbreak first emerged in the Chinese city of Wuhan back in December and January of this year.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ivan, but this was one of the largest food markets in Beijing. So what impact, if any, does this have, let's say, on the food supply chain, on food safety here?
It's substantial enough that Chinese officials have talked about and asserted that food security will not be impacted by the closure of this market, that they're instead going to ensure that food comes in through other avenues. But make no mistake, this is an important piece of Beijing's infrastructure that has now been shut down, with all of the people that work, the thousands and thousands of people who work at this market, they're all being tested at this time. And the authorities are saying anybody who's been through the place is supposed to go home and stay home for at least 2 weeks to be observed to make sure that they don't get fevers. And the real concern, as one editor-in-chief of a Chinese state newspaper put it, he said that Beijing would not become Wuhan 2.0. Wuhan, of course, that city where the coronavirus was first detected back in December. But they're clearly concerned that this could spread. Already, they've traced several of those 76 cases from the market that have spread to 2 neighboring provinces. So they're very worried right now. They're canceling sporting events, and they've also canceled intra-provincial domestic tour groups from moving around.